Any fans of Monty Python out there? Do you remember that phrase, run and hide, run and hide? Is that still appropriate? Let's talk about that next. Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here, and today I want to talk about run and hide or stay and fight. What's it mean? What's it mean for you? And I'm anxious to see what some of your comments are going to be. Before we do get started, I wanted to ask you to go ahead and share this video with someone that you think might need to watch this. That is so important, and subscribe. It does my heart good to see those subscribe numbers go up because this is some pretty important information. I know I'm not the most eloquent speaker at all, but sometimes we do talk on some pretty important topics, so please bear with me on that. Also, if you're thinking that maybe Idaho is the place that you want to check out, maybe you want to relocate or at least find out if maybe it's right for you, give me a call. Me, Treasure Valley Steven, Treasure Valley Marine, we've all made that journey. We've all relocated from someplace else, and we picked the Treasure Valley for a particular reason because it's great. And we'd be glad to share our experiences with you. So give us a call, text, email, whatever it takes. And today's topic is run and hide or stay and fight. So you hear people say, well, you should stay in California and fight. The reason that California is going down the tubes is because you're not staying and fighting. Have you heard that before? I sure have. And, maybe on one level it's like, yeah, okay, we could stay and fight. Well, what does that mean? Probably means something different to everybody. But I think sometimes it's the crabs in the bucket phenomenon where everyone that can't leave is mad because you are leaving, because you're actually taking those steps to protect your family. But I was doing some research, and where's the best place to get, reflections of what people are thinking? The library? Not this time. It was Facebook. So I just jotted some comments down, and I wanted to share those with you. Stay and fight. And I think some of this is coming from what we see going on with the truckers up in Canada. They're resisting, and it's having an effect. And that's a great way of keeping the government in check for not going too far. But how does that apply to California? Is it two different things? One person said, I find it so frustrating that there are no significant protests. When Democrats have an issue, they go viral and they riot. And Republicans, conservatives are just a lot of talk and no action. I don't think that's exactly true. The Tea Party, that was a big thing. They said that even though we had the Tea Party and there's a lot of resistance going on there, that things got significantly worse. Well, that's very true. One person said that they organized protests in their community. They've been doing it for months, and they have an okay outcome. So, bless their hearts. Somebody else says, we have to go to work. That's a theme I see here. It's like for conservatives to protest for conservative causes, they can't go camp out for weeks and months in the front yard of the Capitol or something, or in front of Newsom's house, because they have to go to work the next day. And somebody else says that they do attend some protests in California, but the turnout is moderate. It's really hard to protest living paycheck to paycheck. California has it rigged so you can't afford to really fight. Kind of just reiterating what we were just talking about. Somebody else says, I never thought my vote counted there. Sounds like they might have moved already. This one says, we just need people to get loud and mobile. Mobile? One of the two. I'm not sure that really has any effect. I think the whole point about getting loud, I'm not sure what being mobile means. Even those truckers aren't mobile. But the thing about getting loud is it doesn't have any impact unless you have the media bringing you out onto the TV every night on your side. So the best way to fight is to remove the rotten Dems from office. maybe. Well, and in Idaho, we kind of have the same thing but reversed. We have a vast majority of Republicans. We still have those Republicans, the rhinos, if you will, that are they promote the needs, the desires of the establishment over the people in some cases, as obviously what happens in California, except it comes from the liberal side. And it happens everywhere. But the thing is, in Idaho, it's not anywhere on the scope as bad as what's going on in California. Up here, our voices still do matter. And we have a lot of politicians that are out here amongst the people and really reflect that conservative lifestyle and bring that to the legislature. And in the last few years, that has really amplified who the rhinos are within our legislative process and our gubernatorial process. So it's a good thing. These last couple of years have really kind of put a focus out there, and the people are up in arms. And bless your hearts, you Californians that are coming up here that have already moved here are so getting involved with our local and regional and our state politics and are making a difference. I've got personal friends that are so involved, and we're seeing things change. We're seeing the rhinos get kind of goofy at times. I mean, they start getting so flustered. They're so used to just, saying a couple right things and then everyone looking the other way. But things are definitely different. Yep, we've been fighting for years. If people had paid attention back then, I don't think we'd be where we are now. Well, that's true. There's been a lot of protests and things going on, and things never evened out or got better, but continued that downward slide. Liberals in California, they cheat. It's the only way they can win. Maybe that's so, but they've cheated legally. And I think this next comment is just on those lines. Worst things that we ever did was to go to open primaries, especially in a heavily gerrymandered state. It's a one-party rule. Well, and that's very true. With open primaries, you can be a Democrat and vote in the Republican to have the most, in the primaries, to have the most liberal Republican. And then you go back and you work on your Democrat in the general election. And that's how you progressively get more and more liberal in the legislative and bureaucratic branches of government. Mandates are only a small part of the issue. How about high taxes, regulation, and ideology? Well, that's true. Recently, we saw the news story that California is aiming to double the taxes that people pay down there. Up here in Idaho, there's all these pushes to lower the taxes, whether it's the grocery tax, which isn't having a whole lot of success right now, but also income tax, sales tax, and property taxes. I mean, you don't hear people talk in government, in power, the people that can actually make these changes, talking about lowering taxes in California. So that should be an indication right there. Regulations, it's a lot easier to do business here in Idaho. And ideology, well, I think that's kind of speaks for itself. We have the people that come here, the people that live here, the Idahoans at heart, they live a conservative lifestyle, meaning they're neighborly, but they don't get in your neighbor's business. But if your neighbor needs help, they're the first ones there. Kind of like America used to be, right? This person says, we camped out at Newsom's home during SB 276 and 277, and it didn't make a difference. Ineffective protests, we've seen it for years. This person says that the elites who live here, they've created this well-oiled machine. They skim the tax money and put the right people in the right places in Sacramento. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Hollywood promotes whatever they say. I'm not sure who they are, but we see the results. They've watched, this person's been there for decades. They've progressively seen it get worse over the last 40 years. There's nothing to fight for. It's been lost for a long time, and this person voted with their feet. Too many brainwashed people and cheating going on in California. Yeah, I can kind of see that as well. This person said, I stayed to petition for a recall of all of them, and then when it came to the vote, the Dems believed the lie. So, yep, you guys did have a recall last year, and there's a lot of effort out there. Did it make a difference? I'm thinking not. After the recall was over, did they just kind of like look back at you and just call you conspiracy nuts and fools for wasting your effort? Kinda. This one says the movement is to starve the commie states and bring and build businesses in red states. California has already lost a House seat as a result. They've also lost billions. This is the movement. And I think this guy is onto something. This is voting with your feet. Just saying, my vote with my ballot is not working. And the only vote that I have that has any meaning in my life is to get the heck out of Dodge or Sacramento and get someplace else. And there's absolutely no shame in that. And those people that say, well, you should stay and fight. Treasure Valley Dave, you should have stayed in California and fought. You know what? I most certainly did. I was on our county central committee along with Mrs. Treasure Valley Dave, and we pushed everything to the more of the libertarian conservative type thing. But the powers that be from Sacramento came down and changed that, and it just completely made all of the efforts that we had put in. We started to make some pretty good traction. It just made it all go away with the stroke of a pen. The Gray Davis recall, part of that. The smog check too, you remember that? I was part of that. Out there protesting, had my sign. I was even in the Sacramento Bee. Had my sign, my face was up like that. It was great. Didn't do anything. Tea parties, I was involved with a couple of those in our area. We went to a lot of Ron Paul meetups, found a bunch of like-minded people, made some good friends from that. So it wasn't a total loss. Also, and you're not going to believe this, but Treasure Valley Dave was a producer at a public access TV station back there in California. I did that for many years, and from that, I was able to put out a lot of DVDs onto, broadcast them on the local cable TV for, just trying to wake people up to question what's going on. And I really did have an effect doing that. Obviously, I didn't change anything in the way California's run, but there's a lot of people that I woke up, if you will, in the right way, not the liberal Marxist way. So I did everything I could. I stayed and fought. And at some point it was like, this just isn't, it's not making any difference. And my family is more important. Getting a better quality of life is more important. Less crime, just less all the bad stuff and more all the good stuff. So we voted with our feet. We stayed and we fought, and then you beat your head against the wall for just so many times. And it's like, you know what? That's it. That's what I'm kind of mentioning to you guys. When you reach that level, that point where it's like you stayed, you fought, you did everything you could, but the quality of life, your children's future, things like that might mean more than whether somebody else is saying, well, you didn't stick around to fight. Crabs in a bucket. They don't want to see you leave because they can't leave. I feel kind of sorry for them. And maybe at some point they can leave and go someplace else. And it may not be Idaho. Idaho housing has gone up. The cost of living other than that is not bad at all. But if they need, a $80,000 manufactured home on a couple acres and a shop, Texas might be the place. Tennessee, North Carolina, people are going all over the place, which is fantastic. Vote with your feet. Like this one guy says, starve the commie state. if there's nobody left that produces in California, I don't know. Maybe George Soros is going to come in and fund California just to keep it the way it is. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to be there. So thanks for coming along on this little trip down memory lane with me and talking about fighting or running high, like Monty Python. So like, share, subscribe. Very important. Give me a call. We'd be glad to talk with you about what Idaho is all about and share our experiences and answer any questions you might have. Give me a call, text, email, whatever it takes. Let's just get hooked up. So I guess that's it for today. Thanks for checking it out. And as always, this is Treasure Valley Dave. Looking forward to helping you get home.